Midwest College Football Podcast, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Sadkoviak. It is Rivalry Week. It is also the last week of the regular season. Sad. It's over. How are you, Clinton?
I'm doing pretty well, Ryan. At times I feel like I'm pushing back towards 100%. I mean, I'm not close to 100% yet, but I'm trending that way. And then there's other like 15-minute spans in which I feel like I'm worse than I was on Monday. And that's just the way fall and winter go. In our household, we have a sick 5-year-old, so who knows if we will be making the travel to my wife's parents for Thanksgiving tomorrow. If we don't, I had the wife pick up some extra Thanksgiving supplies, and we will just do a 4-person Thanksgiving here for tomorrow. All I know is I need football and some peanut butter pie tomorrow. Have you ever had peanut butter pie, Ryan?
No, that sounds fucking disgusting.
You're not a peanut butter person, are you?
I mean, I'm fine with peanut butter, but I'm not a pie person.
Oh, it's glorious. It's way
What is it? It's
better
just
than.
peanut butter in a pie crust?
I don't know. There's like how you have to make like the whipping inside. It's not just peanut butter. It's peanut butter mixed. I don't know. My wife makes it, but it's glorious. It's not just peanut butter. It's made into like, I don't know. Have you ever had like seen a Hershey's chocolate pie or whatever?
What?
That's the kind of filling that's in it. It's peanut butter, I think whipped cream blended together. There's something else in it. I don't fucking know, man. I just eat it and it's delicious. And then whipped cream goes on top of it with peanut butter crumbles. And she makes homemade cinnamon rolls from the pie crust, which is also fantastic. How are you tonight?
I'm ready for bed. I am tired. I'm tired of playing hockey games at 11:15 p.m.
Yeah,
because
dude,
it's
when do they stop doing that crap to you?
never. That's
Guess you
where
just
we're
have
at.
to retire.
Until not until the summer. Well, I fucking nailed my head last night, and I had a headache all day today. I'm like, I better not have a fucking concussion right now.
Ryan, buddy, we're getting older, okay? You got to start toning down on this shit.
Well, it irks me too because you have fucking tryhards out there who are cross-checking you in the back when you go into the corner. I'm like, bro, it's midnight. What are you doing? There is nobody up here watching you to see how hard you're competing in the corners. Get the fuck out of here.
Good old tryhards.
I'm not gonna fucking start spearing people in the nuts who do that. It's fucking ridiculous, man.
So is it just no contact is
No
not
contact.
encouraged?
No
I mean, I'm
contact.
sure you get accidental contact,
Well, yeah,
but
there's accidental contact, but then, it's the apparently, I don't know if it's the highest level league or not, but you get a bunch of bozos who played high school and shit, and they just get all fucking fired up because they have nothing else going for them in their life, and they got to go let their aggression out or whatever, and it compounds because the refs just sit there and don't fucking do a goddamn thing all game, and then I get cross-checked in the back, so I get pissed off. So then I go back and I give the guy a little tap, and then everyone just starts hitting everyone, and it's great. It's fantastic.
it sounds like it would be fun. I'd like to go hit somebody. Although I can't skate,
It'd be
so
hard to
I'd
hit
be
someone if you can't
fucked.
skate.
Dude, I'd hit the ice harder than I could anybody else on there. Holy
Yeah.
cow, it'd be so bad, dude.
Yeah, we have this one team that we have evergreen beef with because they have one dude on their team who's just king fucking clown car, and it's always bad. It just always gets bad. I'm like, how have you guys not kicked this motherfucker out of the league yet? Because it's always him. It is literally always
Does
him.
that mean
Anyway,
he's like hitting people or he's just so bad at skating?
no, he's like running into people, cross checking. Last time we played him, he hit me in the back of the fucking head with his stick. He's like, "You hit me." I'm like, "I wasn't within 5 feet of you, motherfucker, but I'll hit you if you want."
Jesus Christ.
Fucking
Crow.
5'9" and 150 pounds soaking wet. I'm like, motherfucker, I will throw you over the boards.
I gotta go watch one of
It's
these.
so dumb. It's
Certainly
like
not at
Jesus.
midnight. That sounds
It's like
horrible.
Christ on a stick. And I play in the same building I work into. It's like we expect, yes, especially on Tuesdays. Like I've been in this fucking building for 12 hours today. I just want to go home. I'm here to get a workout, have fun, and you're making it less fun. And if you're going
Yeah.
to make it less fun for me, then I'm going to be upset.
Yeah. Certainly.
So
Certainly.
dumb.
Outside of that, are you good?
No, I'm fucking tired. I'm just sleepy. Annoyed I had to work today, but here we are.
You gotta get sleep so that way you're prepped for tomorrow and watch football the next 4
I
days.
I literally bitched out of doing the turkey trot this year because I did not want to wake up and run tomorrow.
Who wants to run anyways unless it's to the dinner table to eat?
I think this is the first time since 2018 I have not done it.
Is it a 5K?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. I've never done one of those. Maybe someday.
I also have not run in like 2.5 months, so I figured I'd probably die if I tried to do that.
Is it Sam that's
Yeah.
doing it? Okay.
Yep.
Props to her.
And she's like, I'll remember this. I'm like, that's fine. It's snowing up here right now. I don't want to wake up and run in this tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. It's pretty cold here. We had some flurries, but buddy, it is windy and it feels like it's freaking 0 degrees outside.
Yep,
It is
that
cold.
is what it felt like when I walked out of the car, and I was thinking, how is the Ohio State offense going to handle this if it's like this on Saturday? That's a great transition, Clinton. Let's get into it.
Are you ready? These are Inside the Pylons picks of the week.
The game, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, Saturday, high noon, Fox, Ohio State at Michigan. The Buckeyes, a 9.5-point favorite, looking to end a 4-game losing streak to the Wolverines, pick up their first win against Michigan since 2019. Can they do it? Can they do it, Clinton? It is going to be a cold one. I don't have the exact weather forecast pulled up, but I swear to you, man, if it's anything like it is today, it is going to not be a fun environment to play in because it is blustery, cold, windy, and flurrying. Big storylines in this game is the health of the skill position players on each offense. It sounds like Jordan Marshall he said he's as close to 100% as he can be, which that doesn't necessarily mean he's close to 100%. That doesn't mean he's close to 100%. That just means he's as good as he's going to be, and that's what it is.
He's going to play. So
he's planning on playing. Max Bredesen as well said today he's going to try to do everything that he can to play, but he's still in a boot and on crutches, it sounds like. So that sounds like a shoot him up with some Toradol situation and hope for the best there. Yeah. What, Clinton, is the latest you've heard on Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith?
Well, Ryan, I had an update as soon as, I believe, like 7:30 tonight. Both Tate and Smith practiced tonight. They didn't directly say that. When they asked directly about, they said, can we have essentially what they're saying, can we have an update on Carnell and Jeremiah? And he said, no. He said, but I can tell you everybody was at practice tonight and it went fine. So they both practiced. It is 100% vibe around Columbus that Jeremiah Smith will play Saturday. And then the next thing is Carnell Tate is expected to play, and he's going to give it a shot, and they'll see essentially in warm-ups how the calf does, and if it's fine, then he'll play. But it sounds like tonight the vibe is everybody's speculating. Both practice tonight, make sure they both feel good tomorrow, and then it's go time because they're not going to do shit tomorrow or Friday other than a walkthrough. Yeah. So this was the last big practice of the week. So it sounds like they're a go. Josh Padilla, the right guard who was rotating with Tegra Shabola throughout the year, was healthy last week, but they held him out, I assume as a precautionary measure. And then just to make sure he's ready for this week. And then Quincy Porter, the freshman wide receiver, was held out last week. I've heard no updates on him, but if they said everyone was out there, I would assume Quincy Porter also practiced. So nobody's 100% this time of the year, guys. You all have to remember that. And there's a famous, I forget who the person was, but said, nobody's 100% after week one or after the first fall practice. You're never 100% again. So everybody's banged up. Everybody's dealing with something. It's to the extent of the injuries. What we hope for as fans of these games is that you can get the two healthiest teams possible to have the best game possible. So we have a guy in our College Dynasty League, Ryan, he is Michigan in our Dynasty League. He has Michigan season tickets, and he said, I'm going to be really pissed and upset if Smith and Tate don't play because I really want to watch them play in person. And I think you're going to have a pretty good chance to see at least one of them. So it'll be good for Bill to be able to see them.
Yeah, with the cold too, I do wonder, especially with those soft tissue injuries, is as you're kind of going through warm-ups, you get warmed up a little bit and then it gets cold, how they kind of manage that push.
Be riding the bike on the sideline constantly.
The bike, hope for get a heated bench seat or something like that. Pop that quad on there or something.
So I think I'd be more confident in Smith, given that what I've heard is quad contusion. I don't know if you've ever treated a quad contusion. I have. It's about a 2-week thing. You got to get range of motion back. You got to get the blood out of the quad or the tissue that they have contused. And so it's a lot of soft tissue work, a lot of stretching. And then you actually, for my quad contusion, we iced in knee flexion just to keep stretch on the quad as they iced. Kid was back to hockey in 2 weeks, just fine. Had no limitations. But it would be Tate, right? Calves are scary. I get it. They linger. It's like a hamstring almost. You don't know fully when you're 100%. And when you're a wide receiver and your entire premise of what you do is to cut and to move and change direction, that's hard. But even if Tate's out, let's say he's 90% and he's out there, he's a decoy, right? And
Sure. Yep.
that's a Nick Saban move when Jalen Waddle was out there with essentially a broken ankle playing in the national championship game to be a decoy.
Because you got to account for him. Because even if you
Yeah.
go one-on-one, if he's got 3 plays in him, you got to be aware because you don't know when one of those 3 is coming up.
Absolutely.
So looking at this game, I mean, the story is the same as it's been with these two teams, aside from maybe 2023 when Michigan won the national title and they were clearly a fantastic team. It's the same as it was a year ago, even the same as it was in 2021 and 22, where you look at these Ohio State teams and you say, there is no way in hell that Michigan is beating this team. And yet it continues to happen, which to me leads me to believe that it's a mental block. It's a mental thing. There's something about either the way the game plan and the preparation is for Ohio State, or the mentality on the sidelines, or, the stage fright, whatever you want to call it. Something about this game has gotten into Ryan Day's head, and he has not figured out a way to get around it. And we saw what Ohio State did otherwise last season, not only in the regular season, obviously in the playoff. And the way that they played this game a year ago was just it has to be one of the worst performances that I've ever seen, given the context of the team that they were playing and what we knew and came to find out the ceiling of this Ohio State team was. So for me, when it's so hard to analyze this game, because if you do the X's and O's, the Jimmies and Joes, these two teams lining up against each other pretty much across the board, you're sitting there saying, Ohio State's the better team. And now I get, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Michigan has some legitimate dudes at the running back position. Michigan has some legitimate dudes where they can hang with Ohio State. I think Michigan's defensive line matches up pretty well against Ohio State's offensive line in this game. I don't know necessarily how the running game is going to match up against this Ohio State defense, because I don't know that Michigan's offensive line has necessarily been outstanding this year. But you can sit there, and if you're a Michigan fan and you're looking for, edges, advantages in this game, you can sit there and say, well, Ohio State really, outside of maybe Washington, and even then Washington's offense has been stop and start at times this year, Ohio State really hasn't faced a dynamic offense. And if you're looking again for silver linings or edges, if you're a Michigan fan, you can sit there and say, well, is this Ohio State defense actually this dominant, or are they really good, but also maybe a little bit of a product of their schedule? And maybe, they haven't had a running game, or they haven't seen a running game like we have. But then the counterpoint is there's no Justice Haynes and a banged up Jordan Marshall. So it's a fascinating.
And maybe no Max Bredesen.
Maybe no Max Bredesen.
A key blocker for them, both in the run and pass game.
Yep. So yeah, man, where's your head at when you're kind of looking at this game here?
Well, I'm with you, man. I think back to last year, and I don't think there's ever been a time in my life that I've watched this rivalry in which I thought there was more. You could never say in a rivalry game something's 100%, and I thought last year might have been 100%. Just based on where Michigan was, they acted like they couldn't even had invented the forward pass yet. And then Ohio State's game plan with Day and Kelly was just, let's run up the middle 30 times into 2 first-round picks, and that didn't go very well, obviously. So I think part of the problem the past few years is Ohio State, Day has tried to continue to live in this trestle, in this urban thing with you have to win the line of scrimmage to win the game, meaning that we have to outrush you. So what that has done to Ohio State has put Ohio State playing Michigan's game and not playing Ohio State's game. And that doesn't mean Ohio State has to throw the ball 50 times, but you're not built to just run up the middle repeatedly. Ohio State has found success the past few weeks in the rush game, attacking outside, both, guard to tackle and outside the tackles, utilizing James Peoples in a multitude of ways, out of the slot or moving him out of the backfield. They need to continue those things. If they just wanted to line up and play smash mouth football for another 60 minutes, I'm not going to say they'll lose, but there's a damn good chance they might. I think I'd put this game 50-50 at that point, because you're not using your best skill set of players. Apparently, when they had the players meeting with Ryan Day last year, it was Ennis and Downs who led the way, and essentially like, what the fuck was that play calling? It is fully out now. Ryan Day has admitted that's essentially what they talked about. And he said, I don't know. I mean, essentially, that was a bad game plan. And then you saw what Ohio State did in the playoff. Well, the boogeyman's back, and it's in Ann Arbor. What are you going to do this time? And before kind of I get into my keys, there's a couple interesting things here, Ryan. When I look at both of these teams, do you know what the number of ranked teams played combined is between these two teams, Ryan? And this is ranked teams now, not throughout the season.
2.
3. Texas, USC, and Oklahoma.
Oh, I forgot about USC.
Ohio State's played Texas, that's ranked. USC and Oklahoma are ranked. Now, obviously, Washington is still a very good team sitting at 8-3. They're not currently ranked, unless I don't think they're ranked. Did they get ranked last night?
Who?
Washington.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. That stat was from 2 days ago, so I want to make sure I didn't miss that. And then the other fun fact is if Julian Sand has a Julian Sand game, he will then set the single regular season record for completion percentage. He sits at 79% right now. Ryan, do you know who holds that record? You should know. For best completion percentage in a regular season.
Did Bo Nix?
It is Bo Nix at 77.45. So Sand would have to have a pretty bad day to drop him over 2% to not get this record. So there's a little bit of a record watch here. All right, to my keys. Key number 1, I already said it. It's what's the game plan? Is Ryan Day going to want to come out and play smash mouth ball again and is play right into Michigan's hands? Or is he going to want to play the normal OSU game plan and utilize the playmakers that he has, and that being Jeremiah Smith, who's going to play most likely Carnell Tate. You found a way that you pointed out, Ryan, to utilize Max Clare quite efficiently last week, and then using Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, and James Peoples. If Ohio State wants to run, just need to mix it up, man. Like I said, utilize the outside runs versus just running up the middle 30 times. Key number 2 is how does Michigan decide to defend Jeremiah Smith? Let's all assume Jeremiah Smith is, 90-95%. 90-95% of Jeremiah Smith is better than most people's 150%. Last year, Michigan backed off the blitz, and man, they tend to play more zone against Ohio State. They tackled Jeremiah Smith 2 different times in last year's game. One was in the end zone to prevent a touchdown, so obviously great strategy by them. Let's give up a half the distance to the goal versus giving up a touchdown. Do they employ that strategy again this year to avoid giving up a big play? May not have to if it's super windy and blustery and cold because the ball's not going to travel as well. Key number 3, Bryce Underwood. If Ohio State limits Michigan's run game via the running backs, can Underwood win this Michigan game with his arm? And I'm counting Underwood in the running back here because I would assume Ohio State at some point in certain situations that's needed is going to spy Bryce Underwood with Styles, Reese, or Caleb Downs. So can Bryce Underwood win this game with his arm if he needs it? He's had some really great passes this year. He's also had some really erratic passes. And I know he has a cannon of an arm, but we've talked about he throws all fastballs. He doesn't take the speed off of it. And guess what? That might work well in a heavy wind, but when it's cold as shit and that ball hits your hands, it's going to feel like he's breaking their fingers off. So again, it doesn't play necessarily fully to your advantage for short to intermediate routes if you're catching a bullet pass. So can Bryce Underwood win this game with his arm for Michigan if they need it? 9.5 is our line. There's something that I don't know why I'm believing this again. Did
You're
something
Lucy
change?
You're fucking Charlie Brown with the football, man. That is you. That is you right now. You are Lucy is holding that football and you are running up, about to try to mash the shit out of it.
I'm gonna
It's gonna be different this time.
I'm gonna believe what all the beat writers have said, and that Day has approached everything differently since that game. He's been more loose. Obviously, this year in Ohio State is not. They've purposely done the slow play. They're the slowest team in the country. They do it on purpose. I'm not concerned about that. But I'm an Ohio State fan. I don't know if I can get myself to ever pick Michigan. I think Michigan is a fantastic team at 9-2 for all the Michigan fans listening. And this game scares the shit out of me because I don't want to have to listen to the Wolverine fans for another year. although they deserve it because they've won the game. But I like Ohio State minus 9.5 in this game. If this game was sitting at 10, I would go Michigan plus 10. I think Ohio State gets something late to get this to where it's a 10-plus game. Final score, what did I put on the board at work today? I don't know. I would say something like a 27-13 Ohio State. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Clinton, I have basically one thought.
Lock of the week.
Give me Michigan plus 9, man. We're not overthinking this.
Are you picking them outright, or are you just picking them with the points?
I'll take them with the points.
Okay.
I'm not going to go confident and say that they're going to win, but something to look out for. The forecast for Saturday night, I get it's a noon game, but if this matriculates quicker than expected at all, potential winter storm Saturday night in Ann Arbor, 3 to 5 inches of snow expected. If that moves up, Clinton, and that hits during the game, that benefits Michigan immensely, considering the strengths of these teams.
I would say the Michigan offense. I don't think it really affects Ohio State's defense at all.
No, it doesn't affect Ohio State's defense at all. But when you consider how these teams more or less are functioning on offense, Ohio State doesn't run the ball all that great. They've been better recently. They've done it against some dog water defenses, man. Let's not bear any bones about it. It's encouraging that they've gotten better. It's encouraging that they seem to figure out the personnel. I need to see it against a real defense. And
I agree.
That's kind of one of those things that could it happen in this game? It sure as hell could. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, but I would like to see it before I believe it. With the weather itself too, even independent of a potential winter storm moving up. Right now, cloudy, light snow likely in the afternoon, high around 30, winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So not too bad right now. But again, anything that can potentially limit how effective teams can throw the football, that's going to disproportionately affect Ohio State versus Michigan, because Ohio State is a much better team at throwing the football than Michigan. My concern in this game is Ryan Day, because we have seen it time and time again that he feels for whatever reason he needs to beat Michigan at its own game by being tough, by running up the middle, by forsaking the advantage that Ohio State has over pretty much every team that they will play, and that's their athletes in space. Until I see him say, fuck you guys, I don't care how we win this game, we're just going to win this game, I'm operating under the assumption he's going to try to do the same dumb shit again. Because he has confidence in his team, and that's great, but that confidence has not borne out the last 4 years. And it was fucking embarrassing watching them try to do that last year, especially when it became evident that it was not working. You had a halftime to adjust and say, all right, we're just going to throw the ball around.
It's not only that, Ryan. They walked right down the field and scored before halftime when they ran hurry up easily.
And you went back and did the same thing. You went back and did the same damn thing.
Oh, my God.
Am I still salty about all the money I lost betting this game last year? A little bit.
I'm sure a lot of people are. Dave Portnoy's probably mad because I bet he probably bet Ohio State last year.
I'm just curious. I think the big key in this game to me is who gets more out of the injured stars. If Tate and Smith are, I don't even want to say like 85% effective. If they play at 85% of what they normally would from like a volume standpoint, I think Ohio State's going to be fine in this game. If Jordan Marshall is playing at like 85% of what he had been playing after the Justice Haynes injury, I think Michigan will be fine offensively. My concern on the Michigan side is what happens when he gets smoked on his second run of the game and can't come back in.
Yeah, happened to Blake Corum a few years ago. They still won, but they had Donovan Edwards,
who only showed up for this game and the national title game. That was
absolutely
that was his.
But he made it his point to show up for Ohio State.
Yep. I think there is a universe where Ohio State wins this game by like 3 scores. I think there's also a universe where Ohio State shits down its leg again and Michigan wins
and loses 13-10.
Yep. So I think relatively this is going to be a close-ish game. I do agree with you. I think there's like I would not be surprised if we're talking like a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. Ohio State goes on a long drive to make it a 10-point game, And then, like, on the ensuing drive, Underwood gets intercepted and Ohio State kills the clock. I can see that playing out, too. But if you're going to give me 9.5 points in a game that Michigan has won, despite not being the more talented team in 3 of the last 4 years, possibly even 4 of the last 4 years, I'm going to take 2 scores, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to lock that shit up, too.
One thing you mentioned was, Ryan Day shouldn't just give a shit about what people think and they just win the game the way they want.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what they've done for 11 straight games this year. They don't give a shit what anyone else has said.
Yep.
They've went out. They have not attacked down the field other than in games they decided they want to. They won the Texas game the way they wanted. They've won every game this year playing how they wanted. They didn't give a shit about the noise. Now does he do the same thing?
Don't overthink it.
Now's the litmus test.
Mm-hmm.
The season begins Saturday. You will be in the playoffs. You won't go to the Big Ten Championship if you lose. And if Michigan wins and Oregon loses, I'm sure the next game we may talk about, Michigan goes to the Big Ten Championship to play Indiana. So Michigan's got a lot to play for, which also somebody pointed to me puts pressure on Michigan for the first time. They didn't have pressure last year, right?
For sure. Oh, yeah, they were bad. They were bad.
We just need to win. Well, guess what? Well, we got to win to make the playoff. And oh, shit, if we win the game after us, and if they lose, we might go to the Big Ten Championship and a chance to win that. So they do have some pressure in this game, which would be interesting. Same guy, Bill, who is in our dynasty, he does not trust Sharon Moore in these situations. I'm not saying he's picking Michigan to lose this game, but he's texted me multiple times this year and he goes, man, I don't know about Sharon. I don't trust him when we get in these moments. And the most recent one was the Northwestern game. I texted him, like, you guys are going to pull this out. He goes, maybe, but I don't trust what Shamore's going to do that might cost us this game. So there's as much there as with Sharon. If he's in a tight game for a game this year that actually means something, can he coach himself to a victory in this game? So there's a lot on the line. This is why it's the greatest rivalry in sports. No disrespect to the other rivalries. But the game, even with an expanded playoff, has a ton on the line. And I am excited and nervous. If I had Ryan's watch that could check my heart rate, I bet that thing would probably be sending me to the hospital on Saturday because it's probably going to be 200 beats per minute until that game is over. And it might read 0 if Ohio State loses. I might flatline for 10 seconds.
Well, the good news for you, Clinton, is if they lose, you don't have to go live that night because I have to watch.
Did we go live last year on Saturday night?
No, I don't remember if we had started that yet. No, we did. Yeah, we did because you were wearing your Ohio State jersey with your Fire Ryan Day sign.
Yeah, I wrote that up right before we got on. I thought that was funny. All right, next game.
3:30 CBS. The not Cascade clashes. We found out the other night. Oregon a 6.5 point favorite at Washington. I don't think we need to go super deep into this game because we went pretty deep into it on Monday night. And if you did not catch that episode, check that out. We had Roman Tomashaw from Locked On Huskies and Dale Bliss from Autzen Zoo join us to help us break down this game more in depth. They discussed their keys to the game. They gave us their score predictions. Clinton, I am so fired. So I will say the good thing about my team playing at 10:30 in the evening is I can pretty much lock in on every other window. Yep. I can lock in on literally every other window because the only other game I think going on is like Hawaii versus someone.
So which means your ass better be extra prepared for Sunday night in case Ohio State loses and I just mentally check out for the rest of the day.
Clinton
and I just sit here with my mouth agape on Sunday night looking a fool while Ryan just does the entire breakdown.
Clinton starts butt funneling Kamchatka and passes out at 5:30 in the afternoon.
God.
I think to me, the key to this game, I'll just kind of go with one here, is Damon Williams and the game plan for him because he's shown this year that if they kind of let, I don't even want to say like freelance in the backfield, but a lot of the runs that he has success on, at least from the Washington games I've watched, have not necessarily been on design keepers. It's when he realizes the read isn't there, he sees the rushing lane and he just takes it. He does not hesitate. If that's the Damon Williams that shows up in this game, I think it'd give Oregon some problems. Oregon's secondary played okay last week, I would say, against USC. USC got their yards, but it was kind of similar to the Notre Dame game where it feels like Oregon made the conscientious effort to shut down the USC rushing attack and say, we're fine trying to limit big plays in the pass game, keep everything in front of us, and then we'll lock it down in the red zone. I'm curious how they attack this Washington offense because it's. Wait, did I say that backwards? Yeah, no, I said that right. I'm curious to see how they'll attack this Washington offense because they can hit explosives in the pass game, but if you aren't locked in on the quarterback, if you lose your rush lanes, you don't have someone spying on him. He is a guy who can scramble and make plays happen like that. So that'll be a fascinating watch to me in this game. And also how the Oregon rushing attack attacks this Washington defense that we talked about a little bit on Monday that has been pretty good this year. I think Clinton, Oregon is going to win this game, but I think it is going to be close. And I think it'll be pretty low scoring, like a 24-21 type of affair. So I'm going to take Oregon to win, but Washington to cover.
Have my sound ready, Ryan. I'm not ready for you to play Lock the Week sound, but let me get my piece first. I'm on the same thing with you with Damon Williams. I think he might need a Herculean effort if they want to pull the upset. And I think they need to utilize every bit of him, right? Legs, arms, option, doesn't matter. Utilize it. Washington's offense against the best defenses they've faced this year, Ryan, they scored 6 points against Ohio State, 7 points against Michigan, and 10 against Wisconsin. That was at Michigan and at Wisconsin, but you got Ohio State at home and you scored 6 points. Oregon has a very good defense, and you get them at home. What gives me the confidence that Washington's just all of a sudden going to score points on Oregon's defense?
Fair.
That is the big doubt in my mind right now. And I love Damon Williams, and I love Jonah Coleman, I love Denzel Boston, yada, yada, yada. We could go on and on. The other thing that I look at is the Ducks run game, 228.6 per game versus the Washington run D, which is 103.5 yards per game. So we got strength on strength. Exactly as Roman said, Washington must make tackles. You have to get Oregon off the field. I'm locking this one up, and I'm locking it up with the Ducks minus 6.5. Quack, quack.
Lock of the week.
I could see this game getting out of hand late. I think maybe close. Out of hand is a bit heavy. Very close by the half. Oregon maybe pulls away, wins by 13-17 in the second half. I think Oregon's offense is going to be a little too much for the Washington defense, which is then going to make the Washington offense have to press. And then I think Damon's going to throw a pick or two late that opens this game up a little bit more, that Oregon maybe gets a pick six or returns it deep that sets up an easy touchdown.
I can see that. 12 o'clock Friday. We got a couple Friday games here. This Friday slate is awesome too, man. I think Friday slate is
they spaced it out this year. It was great.
It's a great Friday. Like the Friday slate is a great football slate. It's not just a great Friday slate. There are so many games.
There's an NFL game as well.
Quad-boxable. And I think every slot there's a game with legitimate
Texas A&M's night game, right?
7:30.
I
don't remember who the
big time one.
I don't remember who the 3:30 game is, but then you have the Egg Bowl at noon, which has some pretty big stakes as well.
Yeah, because you get to find out Lane Kiffin's answer, what's going on after.
I'm literally going to laugh my ass off if I wake up and then at like 10 o'clock it leaks that he's going to LSU.
If they lose. And then they're out of the playoff too. Because you already mentioned that in our Twitter, that they just set that up. They moved Oregon ahead of them. If they lose and he leaves, they're out.
Oh, they're gone. I'd be curious to see what happens if they win and then he leaves.
Holy shit. No way you could do that, right?
No, I don't think you could, but...
You would be... I don't know if you'd get out of Mississippi alive.
No.
Those people would hunt you down.
But like...
Crazy in the South, dog.
Well, because then you can't, like, if they win and they go 11-1, and then the coach leaves, I mean, in theory, you could say they have precedent because of what they did to Florida State. But we also saw what Florida State looked like with Brock Glennon. It was awful. We have no idea what Ole Miss would look like with an interim coach with the OC and DC still there. I mean, it would be a messed up situation because let's say, maybe you drop them a spot to 8 or whatever, and then they get the 8-9 game where they're playing like Notre Dame or Alabama or something. They get their shit kicked into the first round, and then everyone's going to be pissed. It's like, well, we got to fix this so a coach who leaves the team is ineligible for the playoffs or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. This is a fascinating game because I think... Well, there's a lot on the line for both teams in a rivalry game for sure. Iowa, a 6.5 point road favorite. A lot of road favorites this weekend. But Nebraska finds themselves in a bit of a precarious situation now where if they lose this game, they go 7-5. And after, again, I get the situation on offense with Dylan Raiola being hurt, who, by the way, Clinton, there is now rumors circulating on the internet about Dylan Raiola. You're muted, bud.
He's going to transfer. That's what I meant to say. There's rumors that he's going to transfer. Dude, we talked about this before he even went to Nebraska. Again, it might just be rumors, and I don't want to speak ill of Dylan or any of the Nebraska people, but just the speculation. We talked about this in his high school recruitment, that he went to 3 different high schools and he committed to Georgia, Ohio State, and then Nebraska. Leopards don't change their spots, Ryan.
It's true.
Anyways, back to what you were saying.
They lose this game, they go 7-5. And after the way the season started, after all of the offseason hype about third-year Matt Rule, we're going to take a big step forward this year. You're kind of sitting there in the same situation you were last year, and I don't want to sit here and say that, well, last week didn't exactly inspire any confidence in their ability to beat Iowa, because I think they moved the ball okay against Penn State. They just couldn't finish drives. I think what I'm a little bit more concerned about is it was a Penn State offense that hasn't exactly looked fantastic this year, and they let Penn State move the ball pretty seamlessly. That gives me a little bit of concern in this game. I don't know. How would you rate, like, if you were to kind of just, like, off the top of your head, if you were rating Penn State defense versus Iowa defense, where would your comparison go with that? You're still muted, man.
The Noles defense has a larger proclivity to give up big plays, but I think Penn State has the bigger playmakers. I think Penn State's D-line is the game changer. But honestly, I think I might have to take the Iowa defense because I think they're just more balanced throughout this entire season if I'm looking at the whole thing. They play so balanced. And do you count special teams as a part of defense? Because if you do, then I'm 100% taking Iowa. 100% taking Iowa.
I think that's fair. So passing defense this year from a yards per game standpoint, Iowa and Penn State are essentially equal. The difference is in rushing. Iowa is 14th at 101 yards per game allowed. Penn State is, oh, for fuck's sake, I just had it. 66, 146 yards per game allowed. That kind of gives me a little bit of pause because Ethan Grockemeyer looked good last week. Again, that was more efficient than just overtly dominating in the passing attack. I do think Iowa is better equipped to shut down Katron Allen in this game than maybe Nebraska was last week. So, yeah, 6.5 does not feel like a lot here, and maybe I'm just a little bit higher on Iowa than the books are, the power rankings are, but I feel like with the way, again, we talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago, the numbers don't jump off the page at you. I do feel like Mark Gronowski has a little bit better command of this offense, and this is a really good Nebraska pass defense too. Let's not lose sight of that, but there's just something
Iowa doesn't need to pass the ball to beat them.
Iowa doesn't need to pass the ball to beat them. Iowa's won 9 of the last 10 in this series. Even though this is on the road, I think I'm going to take Iowa to cover this.
So I think it's going to be an old-fashioned Big Ten football game that would make Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes proud. You're going to run the damn ball. Which team controls the line of scrimmage versus the run game? Emmett Johnson, as we know, man, and I saw Jeffrey the Greek tweeted out the other day that he should absolutely be in respect for the Doak Walker finalist. He's one of the best backs, not only in the Big Ten, but in the country. But he faces an Iowa rush D that's at 101.6 yards per game. And then you flip that to just the Iowa rushing attack is 174.5, while Nebraska gives up 168. It's 97th in the country, man. We've talked about all year that the Nebraska run D has been problematic for them, and we saw that evidence come out mightily last week in Happy Valley, when Penn State ran all over them. It's a tough spot playing in Memorial Stadium. Fun fact, Illinois and Nebraska are both called Memorial Stadium, to make sure I wasn't going cuckoo when I said this. The one in Nebraska. But I think the difference here, Ryan, is the Iowa defense and the special teams. And I just think they're not at home, which is why I'm going to take Nebraska plus 6.5. But I think Iowa wins the game and Nebraska covers.
Also, Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. Indiana.
You still have
at
that train
Purdue.
sound? There's about to be a train ran on this bitch. Let me
Yeah,
tell you.
listen.
Lock of the week.
Why is this spread only 28.5 points?
My guess is Vegas thinks Indiana might just bludgeon them in the first half and sit everybody in the second half.
Yeah, but they've shown that they'll sit people and they'll still run their offense. And Alberto
Absolutely.
Mendoza
Is good.
Yeah, he's perfectly capable of running the offense against Purdue. Yeah, I have no idea why this spread is what it is. Like, Purdue's fine. I think they're better than, like, what are they going to finish? 2-10 again?
Mhm.
A better 2-10 than the 11.
They were 1 and
11.
11 last year.
A better 2-10 than the 1-11 they were last year. But my God, man, Indiana's going to beat the shit out of them in this game.
Absolutely. I expect Signetti, which is going to be great for me, to let Mendoza cook because I have them starting in our fantasy championship. And also, not to help bolster my championship chances, but to help bolster Mendoza's Heisman campaign and try to put a further lead on that bad boy.
Well, so I'm curious on the push-pull on this because that was kind of my thought, too, when I was thinking my scenarios through on how Jeremiah Love can possibly win the Heisman Trophy. I'm like, there's no way because they're going to let this quarterback come out in stat pad. They played a 2-game stretch a couple weeks ago where they beat UCLA and Maryland by a combined score of like 111-16. And in those 2 games, Fernando Mendoza combined to only throw for 369 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Because
But I think
they
now
got
that's-
ahead so quickly.
Yeah, but I think now that Signetti knows that Mendoza now is, depends on where you look, but is leaning more the heavy favorite, this is a big chance for him to put enough steam in front of himself. Because if Ohio State loses to Michigan Saturday, there's no chance for saying. And then it's a quarterback award, so it's almost, as unfair as it is, almost impossible if Mendoza puts up a huge game as long as he doesn't shit his pants in the Big Ten Championship.
Well, and I think that's the other side of it, too, is it's not – I don't know that what you do against Purdue is going to make or break your Heisman campaign unless you throw for like 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But then you also run the risk of throwing him out there in the second half when you're up by 40 points and someone dives into his knee, and now Alberto's got to be your starting quarterback.
I'm thinking it's going to be like an efficient Heisman boosting, like 250, 3 TDs. He throws like 85% completion, and then he's out.
Well,
because
let me ask you this, Clinton.
Good.
Do you know how many 300-yard passing games he has this season?
Probably like 2.
He has 1.
So that's that's why I said 250.
He does have 5 games with at least 4 touchdown passes, though.
Yep. So he doesn't need to, right? Because their run game is so good. And what do you think? Purdue's not going to do shit against that run game.
No.
And it might be a case, maybe he throws for 200, but he has 5 TD passes. Indiana doesn't explode down the field. They get tackled at like the 10-yard line, and then they let him pass it in. Or maybe he has 5 total.
Or run it in.
He's ran a few in.
He has 5 rushing touchdowns this year as well.
The other big problem in this one, man, is Indiana's converting 57% of their third downs. That's just another point to further that Purdue's not going to slow down this Indiana offense very much. It's not a bold prediction. My prediction: Indiana's main starters are out by the end of the third quarter because they don't need them to play.
I think they'll be.
They are going to boat race Purdue, and I would be willing to make a second lock of the week for this game that Indiana Purdue.
Lock of the week.
And seals this rivalry again. Because I believe prior to last year, Ryan, I think Purdue had won this one 3 years in a row.
That sounds about right.
Signetti showed up and started doing some BTA, some belt to ass on the Boilermakers.
This is still the last team, Clinton, that Purdue beat in Big Ten play. Was Indiana.
Crazy, right? Hey, didn't I guess that right when you asked that trivia question?
I do believe you did, yeah. At the end of the 2023 season. Crazy how things go in 2 years. 3:30 FS1. This game has some juice to it after the last couple of weeks now here. Wisconsin at Minnesota. The Gophers are a 1.5 point favorite, Clinton. All of a sudden, the Badgers are red hot.
Sorry, I was getting my Paul Bunyan's axe out. Wisconsin's about to fuck the Gophers up. They're
Oh.
red hot. No, they're going to
Okay.
fuck them up. So the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. I think, Wisconsin, what they need to do is they need to keep the running game momentum and the short pass game. Wisconsin cannot pass worth a lick. I'm telling you, I'll throw Ryan right out there right now, and I bet he could throw a good a pass as Wisconsin's best passer, which is their punter. They need their short pass game to be on point like it was against Illinois. And then, of course, they bring the D every week. Their defense is really good, especially their run defense. Darius Taylor is a game breaker. Minnesota does not run the ball very well, Ryan. They are, let me see, 100 yards per game, almost 101.
It's bad.
Which is 128th in the country. Now, again, some of that is attributed to the fact that Darius Taylor has missed time, but he is a game breaker. And in a game that was probably going to be fairly close, the line is only -1.5. If he busts one off for 7 or for 6, that could be the chip difference in this game. But as you and I have mentioned time and time again, the Badgers are 16th in the country in run defense. They allow 103 yards a game. I feel like the Gophers are just stuck in a rut right now, man. And I know it's at home. And I went back and forth. I originally took Minnesota on this one, but then I looked at the line, like +1.5. That's damn near split.
Yep.
Give me the hotter team right now. I think the Badgers got momentum. I think they found something. They're going to win it with defense is what they're going to do. I like the Badgers here, +1.5.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a stinky line because Wisconsin still doesn't have a pass game. Like,
No.
it's not good. It's not good. The thing that has me a little bit hung up in this game is both of these teams are pretty good defending the run. Wisconsin's slightly better. They're 16th nationally. You mentioned that 103 yards per game. They allow 3.3 yards per carry. Minnesota's also pretty good at defending the run, too. Not quite to that level. 124 yards per game allowed, 3.3 yards per carry. Their yards per game is 35th in the country. Where these defenses are not great is defending the pass. That, I think, plays a little bit more into Minnesota's hands because we've seen Drake Lindsey and Minnesota have a functional and sometimes even good passing game for spurts this year. We have not seen Wisconsin have a functional passing game at all this season. It's comically bad how awful they are at throwing the football. They are 133rd in the country at 132 yards per game passing. There are only 3 teams that are worse, and 2 of them run the triple option, and one of them is Northern Illinois, which has not played offense in like 7 years.
Since they beat Notre Dame last year.
They didn't even throw the ball well in that game. They hit one fucking miracle pass that split through a cornerback and a linebacker, and it was the running back who caught it was so surprised he like stuttered because he didn't think the ball was getting through. I'm going to take the Gophers in this one. I like the home field advantage here. I would not be surprised if Wisconsin won this game, and I think that'd be a great story, that the kind of end of the season comeback that they had when everyone had them left for dead. But I think the pass game in this one for Minnesota against this Wisconsin pass defense is the difference. Unless Carter Smith figured out how to complete a forward pass over the last week, that would be a game changer, an X factor, if you will. Anyway, also 3:30, Big Ten Network, the bowl eligibility bowl, if you will. Penn State, a 13.5-point favorite at Rutgers. Both of these teams are at 5-6 right now. The winner's going bowling. The loser is going home. Rutgers can't play defense, man. It's been a problem.
Especially run defense.
It's been a problem all year. Rutgers is 75th nationally versus the pass, 124 yards per game allowed. Clinton, their rush defense is putrid. It is so bad. 201 yards per game allowed. That is impressive. I think what's more impressive is that there are somehow 7 teams worse than them. However, fun fact, they are last in the country in yards per game allowed. Do you want to guess how many yards per carry allowed? Do you want to guess how many, what their average yards per carry, yards per rush allowed this season is?
6.7.
It is 6.6. That is almost a full yard worse than 135th place. That is bad.
I'm pretty damn good at guessing this shit.
That is so bad.
Absolutely.
Like a full yard. They are 136 out of 136 teams. The team that is 135th allows a full yard per carry less than they do. That is bad.
Yeah.
Katron Allen might set what I don't know what Penn State's single game rushing record is. Katron Allen might hit that in this game.
Dude, they both might.
Yeah, right. Penn State
One
might run
set
for
it, the
400
other
yards in
beat
this
it
game.
again. Yeah, they might set the team overall rushing game. That was my first line was it's not a trophy game, but it is a battle for bowl eligibility.
Okay. The single game rushing record is 327 yards set by Larry Johnson on November 16th, 2002
beast.
against Indiana.
I think they're going to give enough split carries between the two that doesn't happen, but I'd be interested to see what the team record rushing total is, and I think they might beat that. That was my first bullet point on this, is that the Nittany Lions in the run game just going to bludgeon the anemic Rutgers run D. If you're allowing 201.7 yards per game against a team who wants to just run it down your throat and has two very good backs, you better expect a big game on the ground from Allen and Singleton then. I think Strong, Sheffield, and Duff, they could pose a challenge to Knowles' D, depending on how aggressive he wants to get. But the problem is it's a big if Callie McManus has time to throw. If he has time to throw. I think the Nittany Lions sack him at least 6 times in this game, Ryan.
Yep.
I like Penn State, and I like Penn State big in this game, and they're going bowling to salvage what has been maybe one of the most disappointing seasons in the program's history.
I have an answer for you. Penn State's program record for rushing yards in a game is 526 yards, set against Maryland in 1993.
Oh, see, it was a P4 team. Maybe.
It could happen.
Maybe.
It could happen. I'm also taking Penn State in this game, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I do like the Rutgers offense. I think they have concepts of a good offense.
Do we think Shiano's on the hot seat?
I mean, if they go
Is it
5
time to
and
divorce this?
I don't know, man. I feel like when we talked to Richie preseason, did he kind of mention this a little bit? Because I think I don't remember if it's him or if it's the one guy that we do the pick'em with who's either a Rutgers fan or a Rutgers grad, and he's tweeted a couple times that it's time to move on from Shiano.
Yeah. It's hard, right? Because your best success has been under the guy, but if you fall out of love with your wife and it's just not the same anymore, do you just drag her along continually and lead her along, or should you just end it? And I think Rutgers might just need to pull the plug on the marriage and get a divorce. But the problem is, where do you go?
Yeah.
Rutgers is not going to be a hot seat for a job anyways. But a young up-and-coming guy, you're not getting a Chesney from JMU to come to you. Why the hell would you go there?
No, you would need almost like an
offensive assistant that's not an OC, a receivers coach.
An offensive assistant. I mean, you could go for
Ryan Hartline.
Yeah, right. No, because that's the other thing too. Is a hot coordinator is not going to go to Rutgers.
No.
They're going to bide their time for a mid-tier or upper mid-tier Power 4 job. You're not going to get one of the hot G5 coaches that are like your John Summerall or Chesney, because they're going to get a better opportunity than that. It's almost like you need to take a shot on a NAIA coach or an FCS coach who has that trajectory to a Lance Leipold or Signetti before he made it to JMU. You need to get lucky and find that guy who you look and say, this guy is going to get an opportunity somewhere and be big, and try to get in on the ground floor of that. But I don't know, man. It's just they've rebounded well the last 2 years. That's 2 straight years getting to a bowl game. And I mean, if you win this game and you get to a bowl game and you win that bowl game, it's 7-6 again for the 3rd straight season, which isn't improvement, and I'm sure it's probably a little disappointing given how good the offense has looked in spurts this year. But I just...
You worried at all, though? I don't know the draft eligibility for their big 3 receivers, but if they're not draft eligible, are you worried that you could lose them all?
Well, I was going to say, I can't imagine that they're going to come back.
No, because the reason you're there, it's nice now, is because you have someone who can efficiently get you the ball.
Yeah.
You don't know what's sitting behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And if, Duff, I believe, is their leading receiver. And if these guys want big dreams of the NFL, not that Rutgers can't get you there, but if you want to go one more year, if the NFL's looking for you to prove it,
yep,
then I'm going somewhere else. And I'm sure Michigan would be more than willing to call you to pair you with Bryce Underwood next year.
For sure.
So I don't know. It's a tricky spot. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. I don't know if the Monday after the regular season in college football is the same as the NFL, but they call the NFL's Black Monday,
Yeah.
and that's usually when the coaches get canned. So I don't know how colleges exactly works.
Yeah, neither do I.
All right, these last three.
Well, and I just wonder too, like one more point on Shiano, like if there's just like apprehension because the Kyle Flood era wasn't too bad there, but
No, but Chris Ash was
the Chris Ash era was not good, and I just wonder if there's apprehension at a program like Rutgers where you sit there and say, well, this is the only guy who's really ever won consistently here. And I mean, they are better than when he started. They are like, again, that's 2 straight 7-6 seasons after 3-6, 5-8, and 4-8. But taking a step back to 5-7 this year, I don't know. I don't think that gets him fired, but I do wonder if that would put him in a position next year where it's like, look, if you don't get back to this bowl level, then you're in trouble. And I mean, that's just a tough job in the Big Ten now, too, given how expansive it is. And if you get a rough draw, like we saw it with Wisconsin this year, if you get a rough draw at a program like Rutgers, you are fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to 7 o'clock. FS1, a game played at Ford Field, a game that has
First
not
of all,
seen
why the hell is
win.
this at Ford Field?
I have no idea. That's super weird.
Ripping the Michigan State fans of a home game. This is bullshit.
I wonder if it's just because it was like Thanksgiving break and they're like, no one's going to be here. We don't want the game on campus.
True.
A game that has not seen a win between these two teams since September. Maryland at Michigan State. Michigan State is somehow a 3.5-point favorite. I don't understand that at all, man. Am I crazy? Like, am I crazy?
No, I'm going to tell you why you're not. 3.5 favorite to Michigan State when they have, let's go every Big Ten game. Gave up 45 to USC, 38 to Nebraska, 38 to UCLA, 38 to Indiana. They have 38 3 straight weeks. Jesus. 31 to Michigan, 23 to Minnesota, 28 to Penn State, and 20 to Iowa. And only 2 of those games were 3-point games, Ryan. Yep. All the rest of them, they got their ass kicked. Michigan State does not deserve at all to be the team getting the -3.5 in this game. I don't think they have anything left in the tank in this season. I think Malik Washington is going to have a very nice end to his freshman season. No, Maryland cannot run the damn ball. I get it. But when you play a team that's bad like Michigan State, and I'm sorry, Sparty, I love you, but it's basketball season for you folks in East Lansing. You have a very good team. Maryland's going to kick your ass. And I don't think it's like a bludgeoning because I don't think Maryland has the ability to score 50 points on a Big Ten team. I'm looking at like a 24-10, but it's a very ass-kicking 14. Like, Michigan State struggles really hard in this game. I like Malik Washington to have a big game in the air and on the ground. He might be calling Nick Marsh after this game, like, hey, bro, you want to come play with me next year? Give me the Terps.
He's going somewhere better than Maryland.
It's another one. You get the Marsh brothers on Michigan next year.
Yeah, there you go. Not brothers, by the way.
I know.
Well, the funny thing with the Maryland, because the Maryland season is they had the 3 straight losses after the bye, after they started 4-0, and they were all competitive games too. Like close loss to Washington, close loss to Nebraska, close loss to UCLA. You're sitting there thinking like, all right, well these guys they're gonna get they're gonna get 2 of these next 5 games here and get to a bowl game. You get your ass kicked by Indiana. You get your ass kicked by Rutgers. You get your ass kicked by Illinois. You get your ass kicked by Michigan. They're just not playing great football right now. The defense that started off playing pretty well is not good anymore. Just falling apart. I don't know the headspace of Michigan State. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this last week. Like, Jonathan Smith doesn't look like he's having fun.
Done.
I don't want to sit there and say that he's checked out or anything like that, but he just does not look like he's enjoying his time as a head coach at Michigan State.
No.
I am going with Maryland. I'm not overthinking this one. I think these are 2 bad teams, and Maryland's just less bad. That's all. That's my breathtaking analysis in this game.
Absolutely.
7:30 on Fox. Another interesting game here. Northwestern at Illinois, the Illini, a 6.5-point favorite. Clinton, Illinois is an interesting team to me because we had a discussion almost exactly 1 week ago where we were talking about Illinois saying, hey, this is still going to be a pretty good season. You're going to win these last 2 games. You're going to go 9-3. You're going to feel pretty good about yourself. And then you lose last week to Wisconsin. And now you are playing a Northwestern team that is playing pretty okay football. I wouldn't say they're setting the world on fire by any stretch of the imagination, but they are fantastic at running. They're fantastic. They're really good at running the football, and they play good defense too, man. They play pretty good defense.
Mm-hmm. I was just looking at it. It's kind of a strength on strength. Northwestern, they're 52nd in the country at 174 yards per game, but Caleb Komolafe is another guy who can just take this game over anytime he wants. And Illinois is pretty respectable against the run. They're 39th in the country, 127.2 yards per game. So, again, it's a strength on strength. Look, it's Big Ten ball. Guys like to run the ball. So, my biggest concern for Illinois, can you get your head right after what just happened to you last week? You have to get your head out of your ass. It is senior day. Also, Fox, we show perfectly fine you can do a 7:30 p.m. game. Do the shit next year during most of the season. Stop showing baseball on there. Nobody cares.
I don't think that's how it works,
I digress.
Man. I don't think that's how it works.
No, actually, the MLB has a new TV deal now, so that may not even be
maybe
a problem next year.
Maybe.
They got new TV partners, so yeah.
Well,
anyways,
I think it's ESPN that pulled out. I don't think it was Fox.
No, but they reconstructed some things. I'll have to dive into it. Anyways, Illinois, you got to get your head right. Northwestern they're just a pest, man. They are a pain in your ass.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go away. Preston Stone, again, you mentioned it. I don't know if he can get another year of eligibility, but it's another transfer who's kind of settled in. He's not turning the ball over as much now. And look at that. Surprisingly, you're in games with chances to win. Illinois is not great on red zone defense. They're 117th in the country. And Northwestern has a efficient running game. If they get into the red zone, they're probably going to score. I think the senior day thing is something that holds here for me. I like Northwestern plus 6.5, but I think Illinois finds a way to squeak out a win at the end of this game.
I think I am exactly where you are on this one, which is not great television on our part. I think Illinois wins. I think Northwestern is good enough on defense, and they're good enough running the ball to shorten this game, keep it close. Hopefully it's as exciting as Minnesota Northwestern was last week. That game kicked ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a blast.
So Illinois to win, but Northwestern to cover for me. Also 7:30 NBC, Battle for the Victory Bell, UCLA at USC. The Trojans a 21.5 point favorite. This game, like 6 weeks ago, looked like it was going to be interesting after UCLA cranked off wins against Penn State, Michigan State, and Maryland. And ever since then, they have come just hurtling back down to earth. Blown out by Indiana, lose to Nebraska, blown out by Ohio State, blown out by Washington. USC has a really good offense, and I'm not really sure how UCLA is going to slow them down. They are terrible defending the run, 126th in the nation, allowing 195 yards per game on the ground. Statistically speaking, their pass defense isn't awful. 29th in the country, 191 yards per game allowed, but I think that's a situation where everyone's just running on them at will, so they don't throw the ball on them. When USC's not playing a highly physical team, they're pretty good at running the football. So too many weapons for USC in this one. I think the UCLA offense is a little bit too disjointed. I think this one gets ugly pretty quickly. I'm going to take USC like 49-17.
Yeah, it's going to take USC just playing bad football, especially since they're at home, and a Nico Iamaeva legendary game for them to pull out the win here. They just don't have enough playmakers, which is what we've said all season. They've had things pop up here and there for them, but again, time and time and time again, it's been Nico this whole season for them. Unless USC's giving them turnovers, man, I don't see how USC doesn't easily cover the spread. Again, they have to get their head out of their ass from the defeat against Oregon last week. How healthy are they? But I expect big days for Jaden Maeva feeding the rock to Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane in this game, and I just don't know how a UCLA defense that is giving up, trying to get this here, well, they're not horrific, 191 yards per game passing, it ain't going to matter because they've not. I mean, Ohio State did it to them, but USC is going to be on a mission in a rivalry game, and I don't see a way that UCLA even keeps this close, Ryan. I like the Trojans. I like them big. One of the people we follow and have interacted with some on Twitter seems to think USC wins this game handily and they're not out of the playoff. I'm like, buddy, you're 9-3. You're not making the playoff. They're not putting you in. You could be sitting at number 12 and they wouldn't put you in at 9-3. So great season for USC though, as long as they don't choke in this one. You'll be 7-2 in the Big Ten. You found ways to win close games that you would have lost last year, or last year's team would have lost. That's something to continue to build on. Lincoln Riley's found something. Dan Lynn is a great defensive coordinator for them. I guess the question now is, how long can you hold on to him?
For sure.
He clearly is a good name in the coordinator world, and he's going to get options to go coach. Maybe not this year, but in another year or so. So give me the Trojans huge. This game isn't even going to matter.
To wrap up, 10:30 p.m.
Talk about a game that's not going to matter.
ESPN, Notre Dame, a 32.5-point favorite at Stanford. The fact that we're playing this game at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time is a fucking joke. Put it at
Poor
noon.
Ryan.
Put it at noon. Who gives a fucking shit? Why the fuck is this game at 10? Yeah, put it at 9. Yeah, 6 a.m. local time for all I care. Why the fuck is this game at 10:30 Eastern time? Unbelievable. The good news for Stanford is they are pretty good at defending the run. 25th nationally, 113 yards per game allowed. The flip side of that, Clinton, is they are horrific at stopping the pass. They are 135th nationally at 284.5 yards per game allowed. Also, I don't know that they have played a running back as good as Jeremiah Love this year. Of course they haven't, because he's the best running back in college football.
No. But Raphael for Cal is very good. I believe Stanford and Cal played last week, right?
They did, and Stanford beat the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
31.
They made him earn it. He did okay, but he didn't run wild like he normally does. So there's a little something there, just a little bit.
A little something there. Also on the other side of the field, Stanford just isn't particularly great on offense. 76th passing, 221 yards per game, and they cannot run the ball for a lick. Micah Ford's a pretty good running back, but overall they can't run. Only 84 yards per game on the ground. That is 133rd nationally against a Notre Dame rushing defense, Clinton, that is just outside the top 10 in yards per game allowed and yards per carry allowed. I'm going to stay up and watch the whole fucking game because I watched them the entirety of a 70-7 game, but this is a game that you can go to bed at halftime because I think Notre Dame's going to be up like 35-3, and then the entire second half is going to be Kenny Minchie and a bunch of freshmen that you've never heard of playing. I'm going to take Notre Dame to cover.
I just need CJ Carr to sling the rock some in this game. Give me a couple touchdowns so I can waltz myself to a college fantasy championship, because I cannot start Kate Klubnik against South Carolina because I actually think South Carolina might kick Clemson's ass.
Possible.
So I don't want to do that. And so I'm going with Carr and Mendoza. So Carr, give me a good game. I hope Jeremiah Love balls out. I hope Jadarian Price gets some love in this game as well. And this is going to solidify Notre Dame essentially in the playoff, barring something crazy happening, I think. I like the Irish easy, minus 32.5. Not even close.
Not even close. Well, that is all for us this evening. Reminder, we will not be live on Saturday night because I will be watching that stupid fucking football game. We'll be live with you guys Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time to break down Rivalry Week. Clinton may or may not be joining us depending on the result of the Ohio State game. He might stick a fork in an electrical outlet or maybe a tongue or something.
Yeah, something. I don't know. Might cut my big toe off.
Drive his car into the Scioto River.
Scioto,
whatever. Who gives a shit?
Oh,
thanks for joining us this evening. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, a safe holiday season. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything stupid. We'll see you guys on Sunday.